All right, it's time to break down the film one scene at a time. Act 1. Why don't we set some shit up?
Our film begins with a projected reel of California women's asses. It's like someone's home movie, or like yeah, my uncle went to California for a
like
while.
Adam Rifkin just went to a beach and filmed.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did. He just went down to the beach.
It kind of looks like it might be like 8mm or something like that. Like, just, well, let's just head down to the beach and get some asses. How about we? It's like cut footage from I Wish They All Were California Girls from David Lee Roth. It felt like it was something lifted from that. Anyways, a dweeb and a bigger dweeb ogle California bikini asses while talking about how moving from Ohio to California, they're guaranteed to hook up with drop-dead gorgeous women every night since they're both so cool. Next, we see our heroes driving through the desert in a car adorned with a bumper sticker that says California or boobs. Fuck. It's already off to a great start.
Did they begin to custom make that bumper sticker, or did that already exist?
It had to be something they custom made. Because who would make that stupid ass bumper sticker?
I don't know. I've seen some really stupid bumper stickers. You know my feelings on bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The less dorky of the dorks, Eddie, asks how his hair looks, and Matt, who looks like he just wrapped a day on Revenge of the Nerds, says, "Who cares? Gonna go rape somebody in a mask."
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Guys, remember Revenge of the Nerds? It's so slightly problematic nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It's due for a Bryan Singer reboot.
Eddie insists on making sure his hair looks great even in the middle of the desert so he can feel good about himself. And the two of them argue about Eddie's hair for the next 45 minutes or so. I'm just guessing because I already started blacking out. Matt messes up Eddie's hair since he won't shut up about it, which causes the car to crash into the only other car on this abandoned highway. I'm not even kidding. They see like 3 cars the rest of the whole fucking movie. Rather than worry whether they just murdered someone, like Evan Lake in Dying of the Light, he just like pulls his car in front of the dump truck or whatever. Yeah. They just sit in the car for a while, and Eddie yells at his friend for destroying his car. Eddie's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I fucking hate Eddie from the jump. Yeah. Matt agrees to pay for the damages to the car as long as Eddie goes to see if there's a mangled corpse in the VW Bug they just T-boned. Which they T-boned even though they were like heading straight towards each other. I guess she swerved. And
Yeah.
I don't know. They agree to both check on the driver, who just so happens to be a blonde bombshell named Tuesday, which is a real name that people actually go by, I guess, who is driving cross-country wearing high heels. That's how I drive.
Mm-hmm. And a business suit, sort of, with no bra.
She's got to get ready for her New York trip.
Yeah, that's in, 3 days or whatever.
It takes 5 days to fucking get over there. My theory, okay, bear with me. My theory is that these 2 idiots died, and what we're watching is the last synapses of their dying brains firing in unison together. So Eddie would obviously imagine a hot girl in his dying brain, and Matt, the storyteller, as we find out later on, explains why there are so many weirdos that they encounter on the rest of the film. So that, to me, that's the only explanation as to what we're about to see after this. They're dead.
I'm buying it.
Yep. I'm sold.
It just gets more and more ridiculous as the movie goes on, too. So it's just like their brains are just dying. Just like in Dying of the Light.
Yep.
There's lots of Dying of the Light references in this.
Who would have thought?
Nobody watched that movie either.
Yeah.
Nobody watched our episode of that movie either. Anyways, she gets out of the car to the sounds of Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis, which seems appropriate and inappropriate at the same time.
Now, never mind. I won't make that joke.
Yeah. Jerry Lee Lewis, also kind of problematic nowadays.
Yeah.
Just a bit. After a quick ogling, Eddie runs to the car to put half a gallon of mousse in his hair. Then Tuesday struggles to open her trunk while Matt just fucking leers at her. Just get used to that. They both ask if Tuesday is hurt and then say that the accident might have been partially their fault. She struggles some more to get the trunk open, since that's where the engine is to VW Bugs, and Tuesday wonders if there's a phone nearby in the barren wasteland that they've crashed in. But they soon find out that there are no towns in either direction for hours. She asks why the hell they were swerving all over the road, and Eddie says, well, we weren't doing anything gay or anything like that. Which is 100% not true.
I'm just trying to fix my hair.
Tuesday wanders down the road a bit, leaving Eddie and Matt to eye-rape her some more. Then they do some really weird high five, complete with a nose wipe of some sort. like they sniff their fingers. I don't know. They're just, that's how you can tell that they've been friends for a long time. Eddie says, California has so many beautiful babes, they're spilling out into the neighboring states. Then says, I get her first. And they argue for a while about which one gets to be on Tuesday first. No, me, no. I'm going to really date this episode. But this is why women are choosing the bear over me.
God damn it.
Ultimately, they flip a coin to decide who gets to rape and kill this poor woman first. This is just off to such a creepy start, dude.
Yeah.
Tuesday returns and tells them she has an important meeting in New York on Monday. And when they ask her name and she says Tuesday, they mouth Tuesday at each other and bite their fists. Fuck you. Fuck you. Matt tells Tuesday about his uncle Levi and his cousin Abraham who live in New York. And Tuesday is mildly amused at how dorky Matt seems to be. Suddenly a Ferrari pulls up, driven by the greatest actor to ever live for some reason. We see the only reason anyone still watches this god-awful movie hop out of the car wearing a red windbreaker / trash bag, a long rubber nose, and a haircut that would make Anton Chigurh jealous. In a nasally voice, he says, "Is anybody hurt?" while gesturing like a weirdo. Then he says, "Can I give anybody a lift?" But Eddie says, "No, man, that's all right. We got everything under control," while making a "we're about to gang rape this poor woman" gesture. Pinocchio laughs like a goddamn maniac while Tuesday rolls her eyes, and he eventually makes a goofy sad face and then gets in the car and speeds off. Thus concludes the entirety of his performance in this film. If only if they had gotten into the car, we either would have been spared the rest of this piece of shit, or we could have had a really weird version of The Hitcher, where this living cartoon character could have slowly tried to kill them for the rest of the movie, which would have been way better. Both of those options sounds way better.
Apparently at this time in his career, he was really into doing physical representations.
He really
of cartoons.
was.
And he just came off from Raising Arizona, which is what he did.
He played cartoon characters and doing goofy voices.
Mm-hmm. Gumby in Peggy Sue Got Married. Yeah. Woody Woodpecker in Raising Arizona. Pinocchio and Never on Tuesday. What the fuck, dude? 3 different movies.
Max Shrek in Vampire's Kiss. Not a cartoon, but
yeah. So it would have been so much fun to watch him do like a Hitcher type of thing in this character.
Right at Patrick.
I don't need gas. I cut off his head. And I'm going to do the same to you.
Let me show you I'm a real boy.
Geppetto wouldn't like it that I'm doing this. Tuesday asks if the idiots have insurance, and Eddie says, farm state. Prompting Tuesday to say, thank God for small wonders. Couldn't say State Farm, like farm state.
They only had enough for Pepsi product placement in this movie.
Yeah, just a random
That one random fucking shot. Yeah, we'll get to that.
That paid for the whole movie.
Tuesday says they need to head to the nearest town and file a police report while Matt and Eddie look at her like Looney Tunes characters imagining someone as a piece of meat while starving in the desert. That's all they do in this whole first act is just leer at her like creeps.
Yeah.
They stare at her breasts and zone out while she explains her plan and snaps them out of it by saying, "Is that satisfactory to you?" And when they wake up from their sex coma, she tells them to follow her. Because her car starts at this point, but theirs doesn't. I left that part out, but yeah, she was able to get the car started for a second. In the car, Eddie yells at Matt for agreeing to go to town to file a report rather than just raping her or whatever the hell his plan was. And suddenly, neither car will start. Eddie is stoked since it means that this poor woman has to endure some more creepy leering from him and Matt and every other person who stops by and the audience, the camera, every
film crew.
Fucking film crew. Eddie takes a look under Tuesday's hood or whatever sophomoric reference we're going for at this point. He says, "Well, here's your problem. You got no engine." Because he looks under the car's trunk. See,
Yeah.
That's where the hood.
Funny because they already set it up.
Yeah,
to explain
they already did that.
That there's an engine in the back. It would have been funnier if they hadn't done that.
That's real funny. But Matt dorkily reminds him that it's in the back. Eddie says if he could open the trunk, he could fix the car. But of course he can't because he is a goddamn moron. Tuesday reassures him his masculinity is safe, and Eddie tells Matt that she wants him since he can read women like a book. Which is pretty clear that he hasn't read a single book in his life. Except Playboy, I don't know. Tuesday suggests they move the cars off the road, and while she's doing it, Eddie stares at her ass some more. Like 70% of this film is staring at this girl's ass and tits. So far, it's like 90%, but, you know.
Yeah.
It peters out as they They get the cars off the road. Tuesday sits down on the bumper and looks up to find Matt and Eddie ogling her some more. Is this seriously all this movie is? Like 10 minutes in, they're just staring at her.
Yep.
Tuesday starts talking all sexy, and suddenly it seems like these dudes' fantasies are about to come true. She gestures for them to come sit with her, and after she teases them for a bit, she drops the bomb that she's a lesbian and walks away as Matt and Eddie fall into each other for a soft little kiss on the lips. Comedy. They're disgusted to find out she's a lesbian, since if she was straight, she'd obviously be way into these absolute studs. Eddie asks why she's a lesbo, and she says, "Why are you a heterosexual?" And they think to themselves like two monkeys trying to figure out a calculus problem for a second before saying, "Because we dig chicks." Beavis and Butthead prototypes.
Yeah. I wonder if that's where he got these characters.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. She says, "So do I," and they're left dumbfounded. I'm guessing the two of them are often left dumbfounded by people saying stuff like, please stop eating the crayons and you're not moving on to second grade.
Glue is not a meal.
Stop eating that. How did you kill the cat? Tuesday goes for a stroll while Eddie and Matt have a nice chat about how Tuesday can't possibly be a lesbian since she's hot. That's just how that works. She's too hot to be a lesbian. Only uggos are lesbians. We all know that.
Oh, Jesus.
Eddie says Tuesday just thinks she's a lesbian since she's just not been with the right guy yet. Spoilers, but I am so glad that they ended up not getting together, like that they kept her a lesbian, because like that's not how lesbianism works, first of all. And second, he can't possibly be the guy that's going to like turn her straight. There's no fucking way. Eddie. They ogle her some more, and Eddie says, she's a woman. And what a woman needs is a man. And suddenly we cut to some pubescent fantasy in Eddie's head where we see Eddie at a pool with Tuesday where she climbs out in a bikini and says, I never thought I could love a man until I met you, Eddie. And they make out while he takes her bottoms off.
It's the same thing I said to Nigel when I met him.
It was a kiddie pool. It wasn't even a real pool.
Yeah, it was a kiddie pool. Yeah.
We're just splashing around in the backyard. Thankfully, we cut away from Eddie's wet dream before little Eddie has a chance to make a cameo. They're fond of cameos in this movie. And we see that between the three of them, they have about enough food to last the next hour or so. Tuesday again says she'll never make it to New York on time, and Matt asks what's in New York. She explains that she's a photographer and has an assignment that starts on Monday since she'd never start on a Tuesday. Get it? Because, sorry, I hate myself. I'm sorry. She says the job came from her lover, who is a model named Rachel, and Matt chokes on his spit, and Tuesday laughs at him. They're just becoming fast friends already. These two leering teenagers. Eddie tells Matt to calm down before saying, "Oh, cheese sauce." Which Tuesday thinks is hilarious. And they all laugh and say cheese sauce over and over.
God, Matt, would you just calm down? Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce?
Huh?
It sounded like you just said cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce.
Cheese sauce, man.
Cheese sauce. Jesus.
I thought he was trying to say Jesus.
Yeah, he was. But he says,
I know, I'm just joking.
He said, oh, cheese sauce. Mouse Hunt. That was a great movie.
Fuck that
great
movie.
movie that Adam Rifkin made.
Toy Soldiers? Awesome.
Toys.
I love that movie.
She asks if they brought anything to drink and then suggests that they can drink her window washer water if they get desperate. Yum. Eddie spots a car, and this time around, the Goofy's All Hell cameo is from Gilbert Gottfried. He drives past them before doing a U-turn to cartoon music for some reason.
Well, we know the reason. Now.
Yeah, we know now. But that guy had never done a cartoon up to that point.
He found his calling.
He found his calling. Yeah.
Nailed it. R.I.P.
Well, I mean, Gilbert Gottfried was like a living cartoon character. So
Yeah, that's true.
Basically, yeah.
R.I.P. to him, too.
Good. Yeah. Wow. We're going to slowly check off the dead bodies on this one. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, I don't think anybody else is
I
dead.
mean, Charlie Sheen is dead inside, but he's still
Judd Nelson might be dead. Has anybody even checked on Judd Nelson in 20 years?
He turned into a puddle on my porch.
Gilbert hops out and immediately tries to sell them some dumbass comb that's a combination hairbrush, toothbrush, lint brush, and dog brush while they just beg him for a ride. Like, so they didn't ask Cage for a ride. Maybe because he was the way he was.
Yeah, because they wanted to get with Tuesday, but now they know she's lesbian. So they just want to get out of there.
Anyways, after 20 minutes of Gilbert Gottfried's shtick, Matt buys a comb for $20, and Gilbert leaves them to die in the desert since Eddie and Tuesday didn't also buy a brush. And he doesn't have a license or something. He says, I don't have a license.
Thankfully, we spared everybody
Gilbert Gottfried.
the Gilbert Gottfried shtick with a brief summary.
It just takes forever. It's snake oil salesman, but Gilbert Gottfried. That's it.
Act 2, The Conflict.
Next, our 3 stars play Tommy Wiseau style football in the desert, like really trying to conserve the limited water and food they have. And if you're keeping track, this is Tuesday's first outfit change of more than you'd think. Spoilers, she wears at least like 5 to 6 outfits in their day, and like their day and a half in the desert. And after 5 minutes of no one catching the football like one goddamn time, Tuesday throws a long pass, which triggers an erotic fantasy for Matt this time. Thanks, movie. One of like 1,000. So buckle in, buckaroos. He smiles longingly at her crotch for a bit before we flash to her holding him in her arms, which is also a recurring theme, after getting back from being married in a church or temple or whatever. She chucks him on the bed and he stoops her right in her chutzpah. Oh, God damn it. Back in reality, Tuesday says she has to pee, so she asks the guys to face the other way while she goes and BMs in a bush. Our heroes debate if she's really gay again, and Eddie thinks she's just bi. Eddie argues that it's fine to turn someone gay to straight, but not natural to turn someone from straight to gay. Which I have to argue because I'm still holding out hopes one day, Nigel. One day you'll finally give in.
You can scoop him in his chutzpah.
Oh my God, dude. Matt argues that Tuesday is who she is and they shouldn't try to change her. Wasn't he like fantasizing about her pegging him like 10 seconds ago? We find out that they've been stuck for 7 hours already, and we get another classic Eddie and Matt argument about whose fault it was that caused the crash. These guys, they're so lovable dudes. Tuesday gets involved, and the 3 of them argue for what feels like another 7 hours until Matt finally lets loose the fact that Eddie wants to convert Tuesday back to the land of flaccid morons. And they all scream incoherent shit at each other before sulking silently till dusk. Jesus, I hope Nick Cage's character comes back and dissects all 3 of them. Tuesday breaks the tension.
Is anybody about to be hurt?
I want that movie now. I want to see him as a serial. Maybe that's what Longlegs is. Maybe he brings back the Pinocchio character.
Pinocchio.
That's a serial killer. Oh shit!
That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Tuesday breaks the tension and says they should stop all this silliness and get along before saying cheese sauce, which makes them all laugh like a bunch of handicapped kids farting in a hot tub, or like the 3 of us watching Arthur tell us he probably won't need a jacket as we cuddle in that Denver motel room.
Pretty much everywhere, it's gonna be hot. Try that?
Then I don't need a jacket. Thanks, Arthur.
Night falls and we see their dismembered corpses scattered in pieces across the desert. No way, I slipped into one of those fantasies everybody keeps having in this film. We see them sitting around a fire talking about sex. What else would they be talking about? Matt says he groped a breast or something when he was 16, and Eddie says he kissed the same girl Matt groped when he was 10, which I'm pretty sure was just Eddie's mom. Tuesday asks if either of them have girlfriends with a straight face, and they of course say no, but things will be different when they get to LA. These dudes are definitely going to end up working at Jiffy Lube or McDonald's or doing gay for pay porn in the San Fernando Valley. They have the acting chops for it.
They do.
Yeah.
She asks if they're virgins, and they are disgusted at the idea that two dudes who stare at a woman they don't even know, like she's the first woman they've seen in 20 years after being in prison, might be virgins. Matt says he lost his virginity to a buck-toothed Coke bottle glasses wearing nerd named Lisa, who kind of sort of raped him, is what I was getting from that, right?
Yeah.
Might explain his fantasies a bit.
Eddie says his first time was great, and then he describes how a woman's breast feels like a bag of sand. So you know he's telling the truth. He says when he was 15, he went to Chicago with his dad, and one thing led to another. No, not that. He met a girl, and she banged him in a see-through glass elevator. Matt calls bullshit and says Eddie told him his first time was in the back of his dad's plumbing truck. I guess his dad really knows how to fix pipes, you see. They ask Tuesday about her first time, and she tells an honest, heartfelt story about falling for her best friend, and we turn back to see Eddie and Matt spanking it with their eyes bulging out of their heads. We find out her first lover died in a car accident, which is funny because that's what brought them all together. No, it's actually super serious and poignant moment in this otherwise ridiculous and stupid film.
It's kind of out of place.
Yeah, it's really out of place. It's kind of, I feel like a lot of these more heartfelt moments are very forced, and it was his attempt at trying to be John Hughes. Hence the teen comedy BS that he asked for. But suddenly Anthony Michael Hall shows up and does a Daffy Duck impression for like 3 minutes, then runs off into the desert while his pants are on fire. No, that didn't happen. But I mean, I think you could totally see that being in this movie. Eddie says he believes in reincarnation and says,
I want to come back as a lion.
And then Matt does an Elvis impression, which is way stupider than Anthony Michael Hall pretending to be Daffy Duck.
I want to come back as Elvis. I want to come back as the king. We know can be true.
Tuesday says she wants to come back as a bug and that she's always wanted to have an exoskeleton. Jesus Christ, this fucking movie. This is a real movie that actually got made.
Oh, God.
Like somebody paid money to make this after reading this script, and everyone went on to have careers afterwards. There's even a cameo by an Oscar winner wearing a rubber nose in this fucking film.
It's the power of nepotism right there.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's who you know in any industry, including film, and especially film.
Tuesday asks how long Matt and Addie have been friends, and they say since nursery school. Matt recounts he and Eddie's entire history as friends, but Eddie trails off, and we cut to another fantasy he'll jerk off to later in the desert. We are gifted with the vision of Eddie and Tuesday showering together, complete with bare, exposed breasts for zero reason. Then we cut back to Eddie sporting a semi next to the fire. Like, what the fuck was that?
I don't know why there has to be any nudity in this movie. I guess if you maybe that was something that they requested because it was supposed to be
like a teen movie. Yeah,
teen movie. But at the same time, it's like Breakfast Club didn't have any breasts, and I don't know. It just feels out of place and weird.
Yeah,
that's because Breakfast Club is
comedy.
a good movie, and you can enjoy it because it's a good movie.
That's right.
It's not a good movie, so why else would you need to watch it other than to see boobs?
It's really weird to think back about the fact that teen movies relied heavily on nudity.
Yeah, another thing the internet fixed.
Yeah,
making
or
it
ruined.
Movies. Yeah, but I mean fixed in the sense that movies don't have to shove tits into them.
Yeah.
Now
you can actually tell a good story, and you don't have to shove.
Because you can just go watch them wherever
captivated.
you want. You don't it's not a selling point, so they stopped doing it.
True.
Yeah. Well, they also went away from R-rated a lot.
because
they weren't making money.
Before we get a chance to think too much about Eddie's wet dream, we're treated to easily the stupidest thing that happens in this movie. Now, keep in mind, we just saw Nicolas Cage doing a Pinocchio impression and Gilbert Gottfried selling a dog brush to a dude in the middle of the desert. Tuesday says she used to tell ghost stories at camp, and Eddie says Matt is an amazing storyteller, and boy, let me tell you, he sure is. Tuesday and Eddie huddle under a blanket like they're 8 as Matt tells a story about some hitchhikers who get lost in a foggy desert before a car pulls up with no driver and zombies attack them while pulling his own hair, knocking his glasses off, and wearing them upside down. It's fucking great storyteller, my ass. That story fucking sucked.
My attention kind of wavered during this part because I was like watching the kids, and like I was like, I looked up, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, being attacked by zombies? What the hell's happening?
Yeah.
So I had to figure out and go back and figure out.
I didn't even bother. I was like,
shifted
whatever.
into a fantasy scene somehow, even though it wasn't a daydream, like all the other fantasy scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really terrible story if you track it. There are 2 hitchhikers, okay? They're walking down the road and a car pulls up. And nobody's driving it. And then zombies attack them.
It's maybe that's another idea for a movie that Rifkin had. It got rejected, so he put it into this.
Probably. Although if he would have pitched that movie 10 years ago, it probably would have got made because of the zombies. Get it into production. Slap it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Get it out now.
Get it. Zombies are hot. Let's go. Anyways, the whole time this is going on, Eddie tries to act like he's not scared as Tuesday screams like she's being forced to watch Never on Tuesday. Accurate. We see the zombies as Matt talks about them, as well as fog all around them, and Matt's super spooky dog shit story ends with Tuesday being attacked by a zombie from behind, which turns out just to be Eddie dropping his balls on her shoulder. She screams bloody murder since, who wants some horny dude's dirty balls on your shoulder? Sorry, wait, no, it was just his hand, but let's be honest, it was probably on his balls a second ago, so it's pretty much the same thing. Next, they play some slow jams, to which Eddie and Tuesday dance as Matt watches with his head on his hands like a schoolgirl in the 50s watching a crooner sing at the school dance. What the fuck are we watching? This movie is nonsensical and just terrible scene after terrible scene. Matt decides to cut in after Tuesday strokes the back of Eddie's neck for a bit. She takes off his glasses to put his face in her breast, and now Eddie watches from the campfire with a big crocodile smile on his face. Again, what the hell is happening?
What are we supposed to get from this? Like, she's kind of like sexily stroking the back of his head, like.
Yeah,
she's into him or something. Are we supposed to be getting like a bait and switch of like?
Is it another fantasy? Is it? It doesn't seem like it. But
no, I don't know. Maybe based off the ending, like this is her coming around to feel connected to these guys. Maybe they remind her of somebody in her life. I don't know. I think there was no real thought going into it. It's just you got to make it sexy. We cut to Matt and Tuesday at a dinner table with some socialites where Matt yells at his guest that their wives got old and fat while Tuesday is a vampire who never ages or some shit. I don't know. By this point, I wasn't really paying attention. My brain was starting to hemorrhage blood by this point. So Matt points out how Eddie's wife is the ugliest of all, which is kind of fucked up because that's supposed to be your best friend. And the old woman Eddie, the old woman Eddie's with makes out with him as Tuesday tongues Matt's ear. I don't know. Don't watch this movie.
It's way more uncomfortable than it even sounds.
Oh yeah, it was super uncomfortable.
It's just crazy, like us even describing this movie.
I know.
There are certain times that happens a lot of times when you're watching movies like this where you just feel bad for the actors who had to do this shit. Yeah, it's just one of those scenes.
I just kept thinking, they told her, hey, lick his ear. We're already doing all this other degrading shit to you. We're just gonna turn it up a little bit more. Just lick it.
Can I lick Charlie Sheen's ear?
At least he's famous. I don't even know who these two fucks are.
This guy's gonna go on to be satellite technician. Charlie Sheen, at least,
he was in Platoon.
He was on 2.5 Men eventually. Oh God, I wonder if she was ever on that show. Anyways, well, let's not go down that route. Matt and Tuesday suddenly throw their clothes off and start going at it at the dinner table while all their guests and us uncomfortably are forced to watch this fucking horrifying display. Then Matt picks up a cooked turkey and puts his fist into it while taking bites of it and riding Tuesday like a horse while he spits food directly in his guest's face. Shit turned into like the worst Tim and Eric sketch of all time.
And they had to throw a boob in there at the end.
Mm-hmm. Is there a boob in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it Tuesdays?
Boob pops out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like right at the end of the shot. It's just like
I don't
think it was
Tuesday's
intentional. I think it just
boobs.
happened because of.
Yeah, I don't think it was
what she was
intentional.
wearing.
It didn't look like it was planned. It looked like it just fell out. And they're like, leave it in.
Yeah.
That poor woman.
Yeah.
Thank God she went into voice acting so she didn't have to be humiliated like this.
I feel so bad for her throughout this movie.
I know. We're coming up to it, but the worst scene, in my opinion, is coming up here in a bit. But Matt wakes up from that fever dream, still dancing with Tuesday, and he gives her a big old dopey grin. He tells her he accepts her the way she is, but he can't help finding her wildly attractive. She says he's very sweet, then hugs his head awkwardly. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
because he's short.
Yeah. Dawn breaks and we see the trio wake up to the scorching heat and drinking the last of the windshield washer fluid. Matt suddenly flips out that they're all going to die. Then he does a whole song and dance about not being able to breathe before running up and down the road for a bit while screaming out having to drink their own pee.
We're gonna have to drink our own pee!
Eventually, he runs back to them after we watch this utter garbage for a solid 5 minutes straight, and he passes out on the road after screaming, "We're in the middle of nowhere!"
It was like
comedy gold, folks.
It was just this weird one-shot, unbroken scene where, like, I guess it's like the one scene where they weren't using short ends of the film. It's like, was it all improv or what?
Just go, man. You're a fucking genius. Just go. Make comedy gold. I know you will.
While the two other actors are awkwardly trying to react to him.
Yeah, they're just losing
it.
I wish he would have cracked his skull on the fucking pavement and just died. But
maybe they're all hallucinating from drinking washer fluid because I'm pretty sure there are chemicals.
But it didn't even look like it looked like just dirty water.
Yeah,
I don't even think it was like actual washer fluid.
I remember back in the 80s, people used to just use water in there, but it depended on where you lived. Like if you lived in the higher states, that water would freeze. So they started making a mix where you could mix window washer fluid and water together, so you wouldn't freeze, but you would still have the washing power and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually everybody just stopped using water and they just started using window washer fluid that was pre-mixed. Mm-hmm. But it was a hell of a lot cheaper in the day to just use tap water and a mix.
That makes sense. Next, Matt fantasizes about Tuesday picking him up and taking him to a bed in the desert to bring him out of his daze because, well, of course he does. Like, what else would he fantasize about? We watch them make out for a bit while some ballerinas surround the bed. Then we pan up to the bodies of the children. Yeah, that's right. The ballerinas are children. And we see Matt and Tuesday naked having sex in the bed. Yep. Going at it while Tuesday is fully topless in front of a bunch of 10-year-olds.
I don't even think David Lynch would do a scene like this.
No. But this is when I started questioning, did Epstein finance this film? Then we cut back to reality where Tuesday and Eddie help Matt off the road and give him a bottle of piss to drink or something. I don't know. Take it away, Nigel.
Act 3, The Resolution.
Matt, who is supposed to be like 18 but looks 30, comes out of his heat stroke by sitting in a car and playing with a Batman figure that he pretends is an airplane for some reason. It's like Dark Helmet playing with his action figures.
Yeah.
Okay, you see him being like Rick Moranis? Kind of looks like him.
He could, yeah.
Can't imagine why Tuesday didn't want to switch sides for these dudes. Matt tells Eddie and Tuesday that he thinks he's going to be all right, and Tuesday comes up with the perfect solution to save their whole starvation, dehydration predicament. She pulls out her camera and starts taking pictures while someone starts making monkey noises over the cartoon soundtrack in the background.
Okay, come on.
Man, you know what I would kill for right now, man? Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, huh?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Well, she takes candidates for the next 5 minutes. They really show off why she was told to drive to her gig in New York rather than getting a plane ticket. Or than being given a plane ticket, rather. Tuesday hands her entire livelihood over to Matt, the 30-year-old man who was just flying Batman around like an F-16 20 seconds ago, and he takes some amazing photos. Real Pulitzer Prize-worthy stuff. Eddie takes a turn and just shoots a close-up picture of Tuesday's tits, because of course he does. It's all fun and games now, but soon the police will be using these photos to piece together how these idiots managed to die in the desert. Or Judd Nelson will show up and sniff their dead corpses while laughing like Corky from Life Goes On.
You guys remember Corky?
Our audience? No.
Yeah. Tuesday shows the guys her portfolio, which includes close-ups of Rachel's portfolio. And Matt says it's too bad they'll never see each other again since they're going to be dead by nightfall. God, if only. Eddie says there's no way they're going to die because he refuses to die a virgin. So I guess that story about his dad raping him in the back of a plumbing truck or a glass elevator or whatever was bullshit. Well, they're all shocked by his admission, and he tries to walk it back, but they roast him for all the sex stories he's told that were bigger lies than Adam Rifkin saying, "Of course I have a great script for you." Eddie admits he lied about not being a virgin, prompting Matt and Tuesday to chant, "Eddie's a virgin," and dance around for a bit before Eddie roughly throws his only close friend in the world on the ground like an asshole. Guess that's what the future Mrs. Eddie can expect. Matt and Tuesday apologize for teasing him, and Tuesday tries to reassure him that it's okay, to which Eddie says, "What do you know about relationships? You're a lesbian." This guy really sucks. She says sex is easy, but without friendship, trust, and love, sex means nothing. Eddie is still insecure, and Tuesday asks why he feels inadequate just because he hasn't conquered every woman, and that women don't want to just be eye-raped and chased after for their bodies. Yeah, tell that to this movie.
I know. What a weird point to make when you're presenting the complete opposite in this fucking film.
Yeah. We're staring at her ass through the camera again in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She tells Eddie that women want to be...
From Judd Nelson's gaze, but, you know.
Does it make it okay?
No.
No. Judd Nelson vision. She tells Eddie that women want to be respected and not shown in movies having sex with horny losers in the desert or being surrounded by children dancing in ballerina outfits. He thanks her for the pep talk, and they give each other a fist bump. I guess it's character development.
Because they're bros.
Mm-hmm. Suddenly, Matt spots a car coming, which happens to be driven by a coked-out maniac with tiger blood, although the character he plays is much more even-keeled and respectful. That's right. Charlie Sheen's in this pile of garbage somehow. He pulls up in Sam and Dean's car from Supernatural, and it's revealed to us after a painfully long dolly move that we see he's missing an eye.
Down and had a luck on Highway 94. Trucks of heat, no food, no sleep. I can't bear this anymore.
He sports a leather jacket, smokes a cigarette, and is drinking a bottle of whiskey while driving down the road, so I guess he's just playing himself.
So I picture Charlie Sheen everywhere he goes.
Yeah, it isn't. I mean, he said he just came while shooting Wall Street, so he didn't have time to prepare a character. I think he just was like, just give me a fake eye.
I'll just play myself.
Yeah.
Should I snap in this one?
It's poetry, no shit.
He insinuates that the guys must have been plowing Tuesday all night, and then says, "Lady, I'll drink your bath water," to Tuesday before taking a healthy swig of Jack Daniels.
He predicted the future because there are dudes that do drink women's bathwater.
That's true. And it'd probably taste better than Jack Daniels, so I can see why he'd want to.
You son of a bitch. You take that back.
He'd rather be drinking that. He chucks the whiskey on the ground and then pulls out a butterfly knife and grabs Matt by the hair and then demands they hand over everything they've got while Tuesday and Eddie just yell, "Hey, hey, don't!" over and over.
Hey, hey. Hey, don't. Hey. Hey.
Eddie gives Charlie all their money while Charlie tells Matt, "I could cut your pretty little throat with my pretty little knife right now if I wanted to. Just slice right across from ear to ear. Your blood would squirt 20 feet. Your life would squirt 20 feet. I've seen blood squirt 20 feet. I'm guessing that's not the only thing Charlie Sheen has seen squirt 20 feet.
Oh, God.
So, over the course of the next 2 hours or so, Charlie demands every item they've all collectively had in their two broken down cars while inspecting them one at a time before saying, "In the car," including that weird-ass brush that Matt bought from Gilbert Gottfried, which I think was the only joke I actually laughed at in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
The setup for it was good.
In the car.
Just him giving the spiel of it. It's a hairbrush and a toothbrush and a dog comb. In the car. Throughout the whole scene, Charlie keeps calling Eddie Fairy and other words that start with F, but we can't say anymore. But Eddie says he's not gay since that's important right now. Charlie says,
"I used to rape guys like you in prison."
Oh, boy.
This movie is so jarring.
Then Charlie slams Matt against the VW bug and leaves, but not before saying, "They say we all got a date with destiny. We'll consider this one a rain check." And he speeds off, leaving the trio traumatized and more destitute than they already were. The worst part is that he stole Tuesday's camera, so she won't have all those amazing photos they all took. They're all happy to just be alive, but Matt says Eddie didn't have to offer Charlie Sheen every single item they had, and Eddie says, "I should have let him kill you."
I agree. He should have let him kill him.
Matt doesn't even flinch at his best friend saying he should have let a maniac slit his throat, but instead produces some money he had in his shoe. He fans his rancid foot money at them and says, $300. Or is it
$300?
All right. Yeah, $300, which does them a fat lot of good since they're all about to die in a desert. Matt excitedly says he's no longer afraid now that they're all about to die, and they all decide it's time to start trying to walk to the nearest town, which is 70 miles away. They start walking, but 10 seconds later, a motorcycle cop, inexplicably played by Judd Nelson, shows up, and he does his best to out-ridiculous all of the other actors who've shown up in the film so far.
How is his performance more cagey than Cage's?
I didn't even know that was who that was when I watched it.
I didn't recognize him at first either.
I thought it was Emilio Estevez since I knew that he was in it. And then when he shows up later, I was like, he was in this movie twice as two different characters.
Yeah, he's too tall to be Emilio.
If that tells you anything about how shitty the quality is of the YouTube one, that you couldn't tell Judd Nelson and Emilio Estevez
apart. Judd Nelson picks his mustache or sniffs his fingers. Either or. You know. And he takes their statement about being robbed and crashing, et cetera, et cetera. Tuesday says that the guy stole her shower massager, and the cop says, I can't even do what voice he was doing, but he says, "Shower massage? Yeah, I got one of those. I got this kink right behind my neck." And then he gets them all to feel the knot in his neck while screaming, "Feel it!" at them and then moaning as they rub it.
Yeah, feel it. Yeah, feel it. Feel it. You feel that? Yeah, feel it. Right there.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, okay. Enough of this.
The fuck is happening?
It also really felt like the other actors didn't know what he was doing, and
Yeah.
they were trying. It feels like a real genuine confusion
Yeah.
off of every reaction they have for it. Like,
Yep.
it's pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
They're like uncertain what they're doing, and like his outbursts, like I legitimately flinch at, and like don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Dude, are you okay?
Keep looking at the camera directly.
Is this going to be all right? Or he just pulled a gun on me. He's a cop.
He asks if he can call their insurance companies for them, but Tuesday says no since she loves these idiots now or something. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to make that call anyway, but whatever. They're just going to leave their cars in the desert. Well, they all smile at each other, and Judd Nelson stuffs his notepad all the way down his pants and says he'll call for tow trucks.
He just stuffs it all the way down, like to his crotch.
I'll call in for a tow truck. It'll be here shortly.
Well, Matt and Eddie thank him, so the cop whips out his gun and screams, "Freeze, loser!" while screaming at Matt for absolutely no fucking reason at all. Then he twirls his gun, puts it in its holster while saying, "Just kidding," and then he giggles like a maniac before saying, "I love my job," like a Muppet character.
Freeze, loser! Ah! Just kidding. I love my job.
What the goddamn hell? They're genuinely confused. Like, watch all of their reactions.
Yeah.
I love my job.
Like they were just held at knife point by Charlie Sheen, and they seem more uneasy in this scene with Judd Nelson than they did in that scene.
Guessing at this point that Judd Nelson was more unhinged in real life than Sheen was.
Well, they all nervously laugh like that wasn't the most insane shit to ever fucking happen, and Tuesday walks away. Officer Nutcase stares at Tuesday's ass and asks if they've been out here all night with her, and if they're sad to see this situation end. Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say I can't fucking wait for it to end. Judd Nelson giggles and says hubba hubba, and then laughs like a mental patient for the next 2 minutes.
Hubba hubba.
I can't imagine why Judd Nelson didn't become a bigger star after the 80s. Officer Doofy then reaches into his bike saddlebag and pulls out an ice-cold Pepsi, which he shakes like a dick and then throws at Tuesday.
What a weird, so he has his saddlebags full of ice and an ice-cold Pepsi sitting on it like it's a fucking ad for Pepsi.
I'm telling you, that financed the whole movie.
Wasn't there an ad like that in the 80s? Or was it Coke? I think there's like a woman who's like rubbing a cold Coke.
Oh, yeah. I think
on
it was
her
Coke,
neck.
wasn't it? Yeah.
So maybe it was trying to play off of that.
The Adam Rifkin saw that commercial and wrote this entire movie based off of that.
But I'm going to do a
totally
Pepsi.
see that. Shit, I got to write a movie. I got 3 days. Turn on the TV. What's going on? Oh, that's a good idea. She's got nice boobs. I think I got it. All right.
Let me put my dick away and then I'll start writing.
Now wait. I got 2 hands.
Time for the good old stranger.
And then they're in a bed with some ballerinas.
Fucking little kids. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Fisting a turkey.
Oh, stick his fucking hand all the way up inside of it. Yeah. And then he spits the
Then he
food
shoves
in
that
their
notepad
fucking
down his
faces.
pants. I'm almost there. Then he grabs that Pepsi. All right, I'm going to that meeting.
Freeze, loser!
He says, keep cool, and makes finger guns at the guy since we can't go a second without him doing something batshit insane for some reason. He then starts his bike up and then yells at Matt and Eddie not to touch his motorcycle. He then tells them to put their hands up and rides off to go be insane somewhere else.
Imagine that guy showing up to an actual accident or something.
Yeah.
Fucking mangled corpse on the ground. Judd Nelson shows up. I love my job.
Drinks his Pepsi. Tuesday strokes Eddie's hair and starts kissing his neck, and Eddie turns around to her saying, well, Eddie, we haven't much time. Matt says, I got to hand it to you, Eddie, old boy. You said you'd convert her, and you did. Tuesday rips his shirt off, and they start banging on his hood, but he wakes up after that wet daydream all sticky and tells Tuesday, you know, I really like you. That's it. And cut away after that.
The hell was that? Was that like him finally coming to grips that like she is who she is and I shouldn't try and convert this poor woman? What? It's better not to analyze it, I guess.
Yeah.
Next, we're treated to a mentally challenged version of Cary Elwes who chugs Budweiser in his tow truck before giving one to Emilio Estevez, who has a sign on it that says, kick me, on his back. Jesus, please make it stop. Well, thankfully, it's almost over.
We're in the home stretch, boys.
Emilio asks Cary how his modern dance class is going, and Cary says,
Well, I'll tell you, Zach. My thighs ain't half for killing me.
to which Emilio says, how your corn's holding up? And Cary says, not too bad now that I put talcum powder in my shoes.
Why? How? How did they get these people to do this stuff?
I imagine it was similar to what happened with Cage, where they just said you could do whatever you want.
And this is what
they all
chose
decided
to
to do goofy shit because it's funny.
Fucking A, dude.
Tuesday, Matt and Eddie wish each other good luck, and they all laugh about how this ridiculous adventure they just had went down. Emilio suddenly just becomes mentally challenged and asks,
You three been out here all night?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just the three of you?
I'm dead inside right now.
Just as stupid as it sounds. Just
it's kind of like watching.
dumb.
It's kind of like watching Cats. When you just by the end of it, you're just mentally beaten, and you're just sort of like, okay, all right, okay.
Why is Judi Dench still talking directly into the camera? It's been 3 minutes.
Eddie starts to say there wasn't any funny business, but Tuesday suddenly gives him a big kiss on the lips, which I guess isn't a wet dream this time around.
Nope.
And then she gives Matt one too, while the slack-jawed yokels spill their beer on the ground.
This was very distracting because it like sounded like somebody was peeing off screen the entire time that this was happening. Because that's supposed to be part of like Adam Rifkin's kink.
I don't know. I think we're exposed to quite a few of his kinks in this movie, so makes sense. Well, she seductively thanks them for a wonderful evening that she'll never forget, while Cary Elwes continues to spill beer on the ground while sporting a stupid look on his face. Emilio and Cary look at each other and goofily laugh for a while before shitting into their hands and rubbing it in their hair. I guess she's just trying to mess with the tow truck drivers.
She's trying to give them cred, make them look cool in front of those dudes.
Yeah.
They're never going to see these guys again.
I know.
Well, they high-five while Emilio gets in to drive one of the tow trucks while Cary continues to stare at them. Tuesday tells Matt and Eddie to knock all the California women dead, and Eddie tells Tuesday to give Rachel a big wet kiss on the lips for them.
Next, we see them mangling hooker bodies in Santa Monica.
Next, Emilio honks the horn for them to go, and Cary says, yeah, let's move it on all out now, y'all.
Princess Bride, wrapped just before this movie.
Tuesday gives Matt and Eddie a big hug with tears in her eyes, and then they all give each other a high five and sniff their fingers for some reason. Did she ever learn their secret high five?
Apparently.
Yeah. Then they all stare at each other from their respective tow trucks before getting in to greet the idiot weirdo drivers. Emilio tells Tuesday he doesn't normally drive a tow truck, while Tuesday tries not to sob. Oh, it has nothing to do with Matt and Eddie. She just can't stand the stench of his truck. Or she's worried he's going to kill her.
Both plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Cary tells Matt and Eddie, you know, you fellers are lucky. That sure is some hot patootie you got back there. And he laughs like Beavis for a bit while sticking out his jaw.
That sure is some hot patootie you got back there.
It makes goofy small talk about them heading to Los Angeles and laughing like an idiot, but the guys are too busy crying or holding their breath. Something. Acting. We see the tow trucks head off in separate directions, and we are finally greeted by the warm embrace of the credits, thus concluding this 90-minute nightmare that we all felt like went on for 2 days in real time. The end.
Excuse me.
Oh, God. The things we do for you people. The 5 people who watch this show. It's the things we do.
We love you. We appreciate you.
We did a special 50th episode of Never on Tuesday. Oh. Please, someone please appreciate the pain that we just went through.